Hello, I'm Lucy of paperglitterglue.com, and I'm going to show you how to make a little dollhouse that fits a Cricut Cutie, or it could fit other little doll figures. And your supplies that you need are either cardstock or cardboard. Generally, when I use cardboard, I use what's called 22-point cardboard. It's about the thickness of poster board. You could use poster board. For the structure of the house, if you're going to make it out of cardstock, I prefer 110-pound cardstock, heavier cardstock. It makes a much sturdier house. You do need some scissors to trim some things. I've got a way of applying shingles that's easiest if you cut them after you've applied them to the roof. I use a ruler to help me fold. I love these little binder clips for holding things together while glue dries. I use a lot of painter's tape. I've got brads to add like a kind of function as a doorknob on the little house. I generally use two different kinds of glue. When I'm working with cardstock, I pretty much use Barely Art Glue. It's a nice, relatively thin glue that dries fast and is strong, but if I'm working with cardboard, I usually use quick dry tacky glue. That's my favorite. I am cutting out my pieces with my Cricut Maker. You can use any of the Cricut machines except the Cricut Joy. It doesn't, the pieces are too large to fit on a Cricut Joy. And if you're going to use cardboard, then you need to be able to paint your cardboard. I also use some scrapbook paper to function as wallpaper inside my little house. I really like that for contrast. First, I'm going to go over how to set up the score lines, how to set up the cutting process with the Cricut, and I'm using Cricut Design Space for that. And then we'll go into the construction of the house. So I hope you have fun making a little Cricut Cutie dollhouse. Now I'm going to show you how to make the Cricut Cutie dollhouse using Cricut Design Space. That's the software I use, that's the machine I use, and so I'm just going to show you how it works in Cricut Design Space. But I just want to note that Cricut Design Space updates frequently, so sometimes your screen will not look like this screen. All right, so starting out, we'll click the green button in the upper right-hand corner for New Project, and that brings us to the canvas. This is the canvas, our blank canvas, and now I need to upload my file, so I'm going to the lower left-hand corner for Upload. I'm going to Upload Image. I'm going to browse and find it on my computer, and I have a bunch of things on my computer. So it is the Cricut Cutie house. So I'm going to click on the main file. This is the main file, and then there's one file of just shingles because you actually have to cut a fair number of shingles. So I made it as a separate file. So let's upload the Cricut Cutie house, and this shows at least part of the file. There are actually many more pieces than this. So let's continue. And this is the image details page. I don't usually do anything with the image detail page. But if you have lots of files and you want to add tags or add them to a collection, say you want a paper glitter glue collection because you know I make a lot of houses, or a house collection, then you could do that with this image details page. But I'm going to the lower right hand side, going to the upload button, and that takes me to the Cricut Design Space screen, and you can see that there are actually a lot of things in this file. I want to see what all is on the file, so I'm going to reduce the size with this kind of scale button down here. It doesn't change the actual size of the pieces, it just changes what I can see. Let's see if that's everything. Now we can see everything, and you can see down here we're at like 25%. The first thing you need to do whenever you are getting a file ready for cutting is to ungroup it. So we go over to the Layers panel on the right, and go down to this little ungroup symbol, ungroup it. And now we have all the pieces individually. And I want to show you this because it's easy to explain what all the pieces are on this one page. So anyway, let me move all this. This is the main part of the house. This is the front and the two sides. This is the back piece of the dollhouse. This allows the dollhouse to be open. This is the dormer that goes right here. The dormer that goes on, or kind of the front extension, a dormer roof that goes on the front. This is the roof itself, and it's cut out so that light can shine through this window. You'll see when we put it together. This is my 1-inch scale, and when it says 1 inch by 1 inch, you know that the scale came in at the way I designed it. And if you're not going to make any changes, just delete that. So I clicked on it. I'm going to the trash button, delete, because we don't need it anymore. This is a cutout of the door. So if you want to make the inside of the door a different color from the outside, you can do that. And this is a frame for the door on the inside of the door. Okay, there are score lines on almost every single piece here. So let's start on our, kind of the first piece we come to on the left. This is the back piece. And when you go over to the layers panel, you see that it's got an arrow. That means it's grouped with score. And for me, it usually means it's grouped with score lines. These little lines are score lines. So I'm going to click on them. I'm going to select them. I try to always draw them in red. So when you go to the operations menu and you click on something in red, it's almost always score lines in my designs. So now with the operations panel, we'll do the down arrow and we'll go and find score. So we're going to click score and it changes to score. You can see that it changes to score on the in the layers panel, but also you can see it's scored because they're dashed lines on the design itself. All right, so in order for our Cricut to know that these score lines go with this piece, we have to attach them. So there's our famous attach button at the bottom of the layers panel. Let's click it. It's a little paper clip. Let's do the same thing for the main body of the house. You see it's got I lost it already. There. You can see it's got an arrow, so we know it's grouped. These pieces are the score line. I'm going to click on them. It's in red, meaning I designed it to be score. I'm going to click score and then attach the pieces. Now, you may notice that this part is not scored, and that's because I want it to cut out. I wanted to add a little dimension to the front, so it's kind of like a front dormer. Okay, the front dormer roof also has a score line. So we'll go over to the layers panel, click that line. It's in red, meaning I drew the lines in red. I don't know why Cricut doesn't show them in red, but anyway, I drew the lines in red. Score. Pick the whole piece, click on the whole piece, go down to this little sideways paper clip, our attach button. There we go. This is the main roof piece. It also has a group. It has the arrow, meaning it's grouped. The score line is grouped with it. So let's click on this single line. It's in red, which is reassuring that I designed it as a score line. Click score. Click the entire piece in the layers panel and then attach. This is the floor, and the floor piece has a cutout for the door. So this is the bottom floor, and this kind of makes the little attic. So let's do the floor, the first floor rather. Go to its little arrow, pick this square, click on it in red. Score, choose the entire piece in the layers panel, attach. Let's do the same with the second floor piece. Open, that has a rectangle, so the whole thing is score, it's red. score, click on all of them, attach. And, oh, one more. If you want the door to open up, use this frame. This one is designed to go on the outside, so, oops, excuse me. So this, let me arrange, bring to the front so you can see. So this is like the frame, and you fold the door over so you can have a door that really works. And it has a score line as well. This is my score line for the front door. I'm going to click that line in red, score, attach. And so now all my pieces are cut out, are designed to be cut out. I've got the score lines. The only other thing I want to show you is if you want to have wallpaper or you want to paper either the inside or the outside or both, let's duplicate it. I'll show you what to do. Duplicate. And then let's unattach it, detach. I'm going to click on these, score, and I'm actually going to turn it into cut, wherever it is, basic cut. So our Cricut will cut these pieces out exactly this size, and they'll work great as wallpaper. Now, if you want it on the outside, wait, I do need to attach these lines though, so let's attach them. So it works great for the outside, but what if you want to do the wallpaper on the inside? It's actually reversed. So make another one, and let's see, flip. Let's flip it horizontally. And so now when you cut it, it will match up on the inside exactly right. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope I've told you right. Yes. So if you want wallpaper on the inside, you need to reverse it. All right, and these are the windows, and there are 6 windows because I put the frames on the inside and the outside, and the same thing with the little circle windows inside and outside. Okay, and then in terms of cutting out the pieces, it depended on my material. When I used cardboard, I used kind of a medium cardboard. I think it's 0.377 millimeters, and I actually run it through a couple of times to make sure it cuts all the way. But for the scrapbook paper or cardstock, I used like medium cardstock or heavy cardstock, like 100 pound, and that seems to work well. Okay, so now let's get to what I always considered the fun part, the making. This is the finished cardstock version of the Cricut Cutie house. The little wallpaper inside, different door, and I just think it's really cute. And it's sturdy, but it's not nearly as sturdy as the cardboard version. So I'm going to show you how I put together the cardboard version. This one already has the wallpaper or the scrapbook paper adhered to both sides, so it's glued to both sides. And I've got the windows and doors. It's much easier to put the windows and doors on before you glue the house together. So I wanted a little contrast inside, so I used an extra piece of the outer paper on the inside of the door. And so let's get started gluing the house together. So the main structure is obviously this is 3/4 of the house. So 2 sides in the front, and this is the back piece. To help glue it together, and then we have 2 floors that provide additional support than the roof. Okay, so this back piece has a score line in the middle and these 2 tabs. Let's glue the 2 tabs together. Even though this is cardboard, Barely Art glue works. Okay, let's line it up and see how it goes. All right, that looks good. I'm going to use a little tab to hold it in place, and painter's tape. I like painter's tape because it'll hold it usually without tearing the surface off. All right, that looks good. Here we go. Let's get the other tab in place. Too much glue again. Wipe it off. Handy wet towel helps me. And here we go again. A little binder clip. And some painter's tape. All right, now we need to glue the roof tabs together. I need these tabs to go to kind of this under roof, these under roof sections. Anytime you have a small angled piece, painter's tape really helps hold it. And this is going to be covered up by another roof piece, so it's okay if the painter's tape tears a little of the surface off. Okay, that side. And then the roof flaps on the front need to be glued down. Do a little binder clip here. Couple of pieces of painter's tape, and we'll let that dry. Let's let the roof pieces dry for a minute, and in the meantime, let's go ahead and glue the shingles to the roof. I cut out brown shingles, so we're going to use our Barely Art glue again. When I cut out the shingles, it took about 3 pieces of cardstock or cardboard, 8.5 by 11 cardstock or cardboard. A smear. I think that'll help the shingles adhere better. I usually start with a full shingle. There are alternating shingles, so one has a half shingle on each side and the other one has a complete shingle. So just apply that to your roof piece and just alternate them. And if I place them correctly, it should line up with each edge of the roof piece. And that's 1/2 of the roof shingles. Here's the other half of the roof shingles. I'm going to trim it just a little bit. Let's let that dry. And we'll do the dormer roof. Well, there's Alley Cat. She always jumps up during my videos. Now, I'm going to cut these in half so I can use them on the other half. Okay, let that dry a little bit. Let's see how this is doing. Okay, I think we can cut this. I'm going to get some little scissors and just trim along the edge. Oh, that looks good. Now for this, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to cut here, but I'm going to leave myself a little extra, maybe starting about here. And I'll show you why in just a second. Okay, we'll cut it tight up against this angle, up to here. And then I'm going to give myself a little extra shingles, a little extra shingle space. So if there's a gap, I can fill it with, I can fold these and kind of fill a little gap if I need to. And I'll show you. Get all this out of the way. So when I glue the dormer roof with the shingles already in place, sometimes there's a little gap. It doesn't show up much on this side. But on this side, there's a little more of a gap. It's not much, but it's a little bit. So if I have some extra shingles in here, I can kind of fold them so that I can cover up that gap. On this house, this was the first one I made, the gap was so large that I actually just put a bunch of shingles in the edge to cover it up. It works okay. It's not as clean as I would like, but so let's see what happens. And it's going to fold. Actually, let's kind of score it. The truth is, every time I make something, I always try to think of better ways to do it. So a lot of times I'll do it different, you know, in a different manner, a different order. So you don't have to be like totally rigid about how you make stuff. Kind of figure out what works for you. Okay, so let's take some of these binder clips, tape. All right, actually I'm going to complete the structure before I try to glue the roof on. The roof is, because it's angled, it's a little bit of a challenge. So let's go ahead and put the flooring in place. So this is how the floor fits in. This is the bottom floor, first floor. So let me apply glue to all these tabs. One problem or one challenge is that the thickness of cardboard and the thickness of cardstock are different. So cardboard takes a little more space and takes up more space. And so, you know, really to do cardboard, I should probably make this bottom piece smaller, shorter this way. But I think I can make it fit. Just kind of fudge it a little bit. Painter's tape to the rescue. Again, I hope it don't mess up the surface. That's good. All right. So that works. And now, let's see about the top floor, the attic floor. Okay, that looks good. Now I have to take it out again to put glue back on. Let's try it a different way. Let's apply some glue this way. I don't know. I'm not sure that's less messy. We'll see. If not, we'll do some mopping with a wet paper towel. That's my cats running through the house. I think that's it. I modified the pattern slightly, so I think I made this a little bit smaller so it'll fit easier. So you can choose to use either cardboard or cardstock. Easier with cardstock, not nearly as sturdy. Cardstock, I mean, it's essentially like wood, so it'll last a long time. So I think it's worth the aggravation, like, you know, ooching it in there and stuff. So I do think it's worth it, but it is harder. Also, I paint it. You have to paint cardboard, or you'd have, you know, cover all the sides, but generally I paint it. See, I just love these colors. I just love painting things, so I use both the scrapbook paper and painting. But so now let's see how it goes with the roof. Oh yeah, I like that. Moving over a little bit. I'm going to trim this one a little bit because I don't want it sticking out. I just want the flexibility of having a little extra, I started to say tissue, extra paper. I used to work in the pediatric ER. Occasionally I'd have to sew up somebody, and you had to pay attention to how much tissue you had. Okay, let's fit the front piece on, center it, and let's glue the back piece on. Now, once again, a little bit of painter's tape. I just love building things. I figure you must too, or you wouldn't be here. You must like it as well. The peaks match, peaks match. Now let's trim the dormer roof, and we can do that with big scissors because it's a straight line. I think I have to get the little scissors out. Let me get a couple pieces of painter's tape ready. Now, whenever you glue a dormer roof to a roof, remember the angled side goes against the angled part of the roof. So we want the angled side here. If you do it this way, it makes it the peak funny. So angled side against the angle of the roof. Let's apply glue here. And glue along here. Normally I would use a stronger glue. I'd use my tacky glue, my fast grab. I didn't put it with my stuff though, so I'm gonna have some drips. And we'll just have to do some mopping. Okay, one piece I usually put along this way to keep the angle together like that. And then the other one I put along the roof line, the dormer roof, to kind of pull it to the roof. So I don't have to quite hold it quite as tightly against the roof. I'm actually going to leave it in this direction so that it can dry. I don't know if you can, oh great, it fell off. But those little extra pieces help me hold it together. Let me see if I can hold it better. See, I think that that little extra shingle gives a little more surface to glue the dormer roof down. But also, if I'd used a thicker glue, it would hold better from the start. All right, we're going to let that dry, and then we'll come back. Well, here is the Cricut Cutie house with the brown roof with the staggered shingles. I really like how it worked out. I think it looks really good, and I hope you will try it. They're nice and sturdy, and it's just a fun house that, you know, you could make with the child and give as a gift. The other option is to make shingles with cardboard and paint them. I really like this dimension. I think it shows up better, and I just like the way it looks. But you can choose whichever one you like best, and I do hope you'll make one of these houses and have fun making it.